You can erase someone's entire existence. Where the heck does some forgiveness go?
In a time when many Hollywood stars would rather protect their image than go against the mob, Hollywood actor Matthew McConaughey has done something to infuriate the entire industry.
First off, I want to thank God, because that's who I look up to. He has graced my life with opportunities.
He publicly humiliated the woke agenda of the industry before millions of viewers around the world. And as expected, that did not sit well with many of the elites. Join us as we bring to you exclusive details of the drama that unfolded on the night of the 86th Oscar Awards in Los Angeles, California. For years, the woke culture trend has been causing serious division in America, creeping into all sector of life, from politics to entertainment and even music. The 21st century has seen the rise of LGBTQ activism, same-sex marriage, and equality for all genders. Well, one of the brightest stars in Hollywood has refused to join the bandwagon. Matthew McConaughey, while receiving an award at the Oscars, acknowledged God, making the whole place uncomfortable.
First off, I want to thank God, because that's who I look up to. He has graced my life with opportunities.
But I guess you're forced to ask, what's wrong with what he said? Why could anyone be mad at him for that? To answer that question, everything is wrong. Why? Because Hollywood said so. Matthew's speech did not follow the generally accepted principle regarding free speech and religion. He should have just received his award without mentioning the forbidden name in his acceptance speech. And even though it sounds strange, it is the norm for all Hollywood celebrities. That night, Matthew McConaughey was alone in the arena, secluded by his faith in a higher power. The reaction of his colleagues, who should have given him a round of applause, said it all.
Moments where I was on stage receiving an award in front of my peers in Hollywood. And there were people in the crowd that I have prayed with before dinners many times. And when I thank God, I saw some of those people go to clap, but then noticed that, big bad thing on my resume, and then sit back on their hand.
Matthew explained that everyone in the room, including his friends, didn't support him that fateful evening because he had broken the rules of the game. Something like a self-awareness crept over them, and they realized that what they were about to do was a bad idea. At that point, the fear of woke culture could be described as the beginning of wisdom. The fear of cancellation, a bad reputation, and all that crept over Matthew's peers. But that didn't stop Matthew from stealing the spotlight, because he just did what a lot of people would not do. His actions challenged the woke culture, which he believes has made the industry very cagey.
It's what we're doing in society now. We're making people persona non grata. You can erase someone's entire existence. Where the heck does some forgiveness go?
In that video, Matthew can be seen criticizing mainstream Hollywood for making people conformist instead of original. It's almost like everybody is forced to be a stereotype of woke culture, and unfortunately, those who speak against this systematic oppression get cancelled. Their legacy ruined and their voices silenced. But a man of Matthew McConaughey's caliber wasn't going to be cowed like that. He proved he had the balls, and his boldness shone like a beacon of light in a room full of woke darkness. Was he afraid of anything? No, he wasn't.
I've seen people read the room and go, whoa, that wouldn't bode well for me in the future. If we're getting a job or you're getting votes or what have you. I have seen that. I've witnessed that. I don't judge him for it. I just wish, that it seems like a silly argument.
Basically, before doing anything, a lot of actors, politicians, and public figures avoid controversial issues like religion and spirituality so as not to tarnish their reputation among the masses. During an interview on Good Morning Britain, Matthew said something that hit hard on the woke culture.
Celebrities and a lot of people in my industry are mostly lean to the left, sure. Many of them lean further into what I would call an illiberal left. A lot of us are guilty of the same thing we're talking about from the other side, a default opening invalidation of the other side.
Matthew is saying here that a lot of celebrities and politicians who are left-leaning find it easy to judge those on the right, simply because they don't agree with what they believe in. He thinks they can't be good leaders by example, both in the industry and politics as a whole. Those who have made it far are the ones who play by the rules, which include never speaking against left-wing ideologies or professing religious beliefs openly. Matthew is not playing by those rules, and in fact, he has this to say about himself.
I'm pretty much more my own referee, and I'm a harder referee on myself than anybody else. I'm a tougher judge on myself than anyone else. And I hope, my ego's clear, that I'm a better judge of when I'm succeeding.
So he sees himself as an underdog, an island, a man of his own who isn't afraid of being ostracized.
Christian actors oftentimes face an enormous amount of criticism. Sometimes they're even ostracized within the industry simply because they have a faith or they won't violate their faith. And still yet others find a way to navigate their faith in a culture, in an industry that is full of greed, violence, and sexuality.
It's very rare to see that kind. This is exactly what Matthew McConaughey risks. Being cancelled, but he doesn't care a bit. His faith and belief go along with his public and private life. Unfortunately, that's what Hollywood is furious about. However, Matthew sees the industry as being hypocritical in nature.
Hollywood is predominantly left-wing and very secular or Jewish in some circles, but it's not like a place where Christian fundamental values are espoused openly. You know, a lot of Jewish folks are in Hollywood, and that seems to be okay with a lot of people, but some other religions, particularly if you're a fundamentalist Christian or if you have Christian values, a lot of people frown upon that. Why do you think that is, and have you had difficulties with that?
I don't know. I haven't had difficulties. I have had, and I won't throw any people under the bus, but I have had moments where I was on stage receiving an award in front of my peers in Hollywood. And there were people in the crowd that I have prayed with before dinners many times. And when I thank God, I saw some of those people go to clap, but then notice that, whoa, this could be a bad thing on my resume, and then sit back on their hands.
Oh, wow.
When Matthew spoke about his friend's reaction on the night of the Oscars, one cannot overlook the fact that he was right. He said some of them prayed with him during dinners, which proves that they shared the same faith. However, for fear of criticism, displayed hypocrisy to some extent. The fact remains that Hollywood loves to preach tolerance and acceptance when it comes to faith, particularly Christianity. Now, what should Christian actors do in times like this? Hide their faith and move with the crowd, or risk being cancelled by the majority? Well, to Matthew McConaughey, none of that is an option. Unfortunately, this selective morality is a cornerstone of woke culture, which often prioritizes optics over authenticity. But the attack on free speech and the tendency to cancel those who dare to speak their minds is a dangerous trend that McConaughey is all too aware of.
Dark characters and are also they're always usually outsiders, and the consequence is that if I'm really going to portray one of those well, that part of myself, I'm putting myself on an island, and that excites me. I want to feel like the underdog. I want to feel like I don't have to pander to manners or graces. I'm living by different rules, and not even to prove a point, but just it's in a Rustin Cole's position.
The bold and audacious McConaughey challenged the left-wing status quo of Hollywood like never before.
Also, as a person who is a believer, to have to be and inhabit a character who is not a believer at all, and here's why. I've always thought this was odd. At the time that I chose and wanted to go inhabit Rustin Cole was the time that my faith was strongest. And if my faith would have been as strong, I might have been a little more fearful of going so deep into this man's mind, spirit, and ethos.
However, McConaughey just proved that while the woke culture seems to cause division, freedom of speech and expression of belief can help to unify.
Needs to be, a constitution of expectancies. between us as citizens, between us as leaders. And inherent to that is not just the kumbaya good times, but we're going to have conflict. We're going to have confrontation. Actually, you cannot have any unification. You cannot unify if you don't have confrontation. It's two things coming together. I think we need to reestablish our relationship with what that word means.
He stressed the need for striking a balance between both ideologies without picking a fence, reminding us that one cannot survive without the other. Still, nothing beats his Oscar night performance because it was a bold, unapologetic shout-out to his faith. He didn't just bring it up, he put it at the center stage, knowing that it would stir the pot. Now, some of his fans cheered from their couches thinking, finally, someone who's not afraid to stand up for what they believe in. But on the flip side, critics are fuming, calling it inappropriate and a move that could divide his audience. Matthew believes woke culture is not just a threat to free speech, but seeks an ideal world that is impossible. In an industry that often sidelines religious expressions, he is one of the few stalwarts in Hollywood still fighting for the freedom of speech and rejecting woke culture in every form. Clips and snapshots from various interviews and shows have shown Matthew standing firm on his beliefs on what should be censored and what shouldn't. So what's your take? Is Matthew McConaughey standing up for free speech and real conversation, or is he out of touch? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates on Hollywood's most controversial figures. Thanks for watching.